What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports here at the voice of college football. If you are an SEC fan, please subscribe to our SEC channel. And if you are a Texas A&M fan, please help us out. Subscribe to our Texas A&M channel. In this video, we are going to break down the 2022 schedule for the Aggies. Before we get into 2022, let's look back at the 2021 schedule for Texas A&M. Texas A&M had a pretty favorable schedule in 21. A big reason why some people thought this team could be a dark horse playoff contender, a top 10 type team. When you look at their schedule and look at who they played in the non-conference, Kent State, Colorado, New Mexico, Prairie View A&M. So had a very easy non-conference schedule, and they didn't have to play Georgia. They didn't have to play Florida, although Florida turned out to not be as good as we thought. But they got Missouri and South Carolina out of the East. They had Alabama at home. They had, Auburn at home. So they had a very favorable schedule, and they were able to beat Alabama at home, but came up short in some of these other games. Ole Miss on the road, LSU on the road, lost to Arkansas. Haynes King going down early, of course, kind of messed their season up, I think. But still, the schedule was there for them. Looking ahead to 2022, is the schedule going to give them another opportunity to have a great year? Well, let's take a look at it. And you can see here, they open up with Sam Houston State. And actually, before we go into the game-by-game breakdown, let's look at who they play outside of the SEC West, because, of course, we know they're going to play every team out of the SEC West. So in the non-division games, in the non-conference games, they'll play Sam Houston, Appalachian State, Miami, and UMass. So that's interesting. You've got a pretty good App State team, a team that probably has no business beating Texas A&M, but they're no pushover. And then you have Miami, a team with a lot of question marks. How good are they going to be? I think it's a tougher non-conference schedule than last year, but still no huge marquee game unless Miami turns out to be a lot better than they were last season. And they have a much tougher draw out of the East. They'll play South Carolina on the road, and South Carolina is just going to be better next year, in my opinion, so that makes that game tougher. They play them every year, of course. And then they'll play Florida. Florida, a team with a lot of question marks. Don't really know how good they're going to be, but you would expect them to at least be in the top half of the East. So that's a tougher cross-division schedule than they had last season for sure. Now, let's go to the schedule. Again, they open up with Sam Houston State. They'll play App State on the 10th, Miami on the 17th. So those will be their first three games, three non-conference games to get things started. App State, I think, is a good game to kind of prepare them. Miami, a game that right now you'd expect Texas A&M to be the better team. But again, you never know what's going to happen. You never know which teams are going to surprise. Miami has talent, but playing at home, you really like A&M's chances in that game. Arkansas on September 24th, the game that kind of got it started last year for them to, their season kind of, well, I guess you could even go back to the Colorado game where they struggled. But their first loss of the season was against Arkansas. And that could happen again this year. Arkansas has a lot coming back. That is going to be a huge game. I think it'll be a top 15 matchup. So a huge one there to close out the month of September. They'll play Mississippi State on the road on October the 1st, and then they'll play Alabama on the road. Tough back-to-back road games there. They get a bye week, but then they go on the road to face South Carolina. So they don't play at home in the entire month of October, and really they go from September 17th all the way to October 20. Well, they do have Ole Miss at the very end of October, but they have 4 games in a row where they play away from home. Neutral field against Arkansas, then on the road at Mississippi State, Alabama, and South Carolina. You don't usually see this. The SEC does not normally do this to where they're going to put back-to-back-to-back road games in there. Maybe they did it because there was a bye week. I don't know. It's interesting to see that. They do return home against Ole Miss on October 29th, like I said, and then Florida at home, so back-to-back home games there. And then on the road at Auburn on November 12th. And so I guess Arkansas is considered a home game for them this year. And that's the thing about playing neutral site games. It's a home game one year, it's an away game the next year. So when it is a home game for you, you're going to have only 3 real home games at your home stadium. And that's what's going to happen here for Texas A&M. So Auburn on the road, they have UMass on the 19th, and they close things out with LSU on November 26th. I know there's a lot of hype around Texas A&M because of their recruiting class, but this schedule is tough. This is a tough schedule. I mean, they don't have to play Georgia, but other than that, it really couldn't have been set up much worse for them in the SEC because You got to play 2 quality teams out of the East. You've got 3 road games in a row. Arkansas is your home game this year, of course, but it's a neutral site game. It's just a tough schedule. Alabama on the road, very tough. Auburn's a tough place to play. They do get LSU at home. That's probably LSU and Florida at home, and Ole Miss. That's really the only good thing about this schedule. So much, much tougher for Texas A&M in 2022 than the schedule that they had in 2021.